Okay, it's live.
Woohoo.
Did it come up live your end?
Yeah, I'm there. 5 seconds in.
Yeah, fine. So, like I say, we've got 10-second delay. I said to John last week, don't swear.
Oh,
But you can swear if you want to. You can swear, but you're not allowed to cry.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, but if I cry, it's all gone wrong.
Oh,
right,
mate.
I am going to introduce you. So, I would be nice. I'm always nice. So, did you watch last week, just out of interest, with John? Everyone loves John, don't they?
I love John.
Everyone loves John. Everyone knows and loves John. Right, so you are Faye. You are my colleague, another of my colleagues at Washbourne House Therapy Centre, and you're another one. I said to John last week, John was the only, or one of the first people that I approached when Russ and I were talking about Washbourne House. I really wanted someone with his skill set to come on board. That was really important to Washbourne House. And I think I said to you at the same time, you were the only physical trainer that I approached at that time. We would have spoken about Washbourne House probably a couple of years ago now, maybe.
Yeah, ages ago.
A long time ago, wasn't it? But you were the one that, or if not the only physical trainer that I approached, and that's because of numerous reasons, I guess. But your skill set was obviously high up in there. We've known each other for probably 7 or 8 years now, I think, haven't we?
I think they're actually nearly 9.
Is it?
It's our 10-year anniversary.
Oh, beautiful time. So yeah, so yours was a skill set that I wanted to add to Washbourne House, and I knew you were excellent at it. So that's where you came from with that regard. So I'm going to introduce you now. So you are Faye Marie of FMH Fitness, which I always have to spell out. Have I told you this before?
Nailed it.
I have to spell out FMH in my head because of, you are probably too young to remember this, because of FHM magazine.
Yeah, no.
The Lads Mag.
Name, yeah.
So if you could change that, that would be an absolute dream come true, but not necessarily today. So fmhfitness.co.uk.
Yeah.
And the things you offer, and interrupt me whenever you feel you need to. So you offer pre and postnatal exercise.
Yeah.
You offer what used to be called over 50s exercise, which is now improved with age, but with older adult exercise.
Yeah.
You do weights for women.
I do.
You do HIIT classes.
I do.
You do PTing.
I do.
And you now, since lockdown, which we're going to expand on, you are now the host of Empowered by Faye Marie.
Yes.
Have I missed anything, first and foremost?
No.
Is that pretty good?
Good stalking.
Good. Thanks very much. I'm pretty good. I've completed the internet twice. So, firstly, then, I'll tell you what I know about Empowered.
Yeah.
And then you fill in the gaps because there's going to be loads. Firstly, is Empowered like Fight Club? And the first rule of Empowered is you do not talk about Empowered.
No.
No, good. That would have been a short question, wouldn't it? So, Empowered by Faye, you do live sessions, so live classes.
Yeah, 2 live workouts a week.
Cool. You do some pre-recorded stuff.
Yeah, so they've got like a topic bit on there. So if they want to just find a workout, then I've done like pre-recorded ones in there. But then they get all their live ones posted in there as well. So every time there's a live, it gets posted.
Nice.
So then got a whole set.
You do nutrition and recipe stuff?
Yeah. So a lot of it turned nutrition at the start, and it got pulled up a little bit that at the start of the month, it got a lot about calorie counting. And now that's what we're trying to get away from, even though a lot of the women in the group, like most of them, are going for fat loss. So obviously we want to be talking about nutrition and calories and blah, blah, blah. But now we're trying to get away from that. And now this week, like, we're talking more about like mindfulness and like mindfulness in terms of eating as well. So rather than having to track all the time and count calories, being more mindful about what you're choosing, whether you're actually hungry. And we're trying to go more down that route than like the fat loss route, if you see what I mean. And
you, it is female only, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And how's it gone? So how have you, we'll go through the big question. How have you found lockdown? How has it affected you? And so your business and you separately?
Okay. Business has probably gone, I don't know if to say better or not. It's completely different now. Whereas before I didn't do anything online. Like, we didn't know anything about Zoom. I don't know if you did before.
We did the online training together, didn't we? By which I mean, we sat in my clinic room and Zoomed each other from 5 meters away, didn't we?
Yeah. And for ages, like, people have been asking me to do online stuff, and it's just, I was so busy with everything else that I wanted to do the online stuff, but I never had the time to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas lockdown has obviously given me loads of time. Not the same as if because obviously I'm on my own with Amber, so it's not, I don't have all the time in the world. But
so we should say you're your mummy of, oh, hang on a sec, it's working in the background. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
So yeah, you are mummy of Amber.
I am.
And that's full-time job.
Yes.
Alongside full-time job of. Yeah, female only is where we, Yeah,
so it's, everything's very different now. Obviously, I had about 26 PT clients before, and they still want to carry on, like, after lockdown, they want me to go back to what we were doing before. About 10 of them are stuck with the online training, which works out nicely for me, like, time-wise.
Yeah.
But then with the online class as well, there's more people joining in online who perhaps couldn't get out before.
Yeah.
Because most of my people are mums. And so I did my classes like 7:30 in the evening when mums could get their kids to bed and then come out. But that's a really late time to be wanting to go out and do an exercise. Whereas now online, I'm at home all the time. I do them at 7:30 in the morning, and I'm getting 22 women joining a class, which wouldn't have done it before.
Yeah.
And then with the empowered group as well, I think we're up to about 50 members now for this month.
That's amazing.
And it's just a whole new ball game. And it's just made me rethink everything that I was doing before and where I want to go kind of after lockdown. And I'd much rather stick with what I'm doing now after lockdown than go back to exactly how I was before.
I think it's going to change a lot of things, actually. I think, like, my side of the couch, as it were, I think things are going to change. Whether it's forever, I don't know, but certainly short to medium term, loads is going to change. I think that, I said to John last week, the kind of the telehealth that I'm being put under that umbrella, I think there's going to be a place for that for the foreseeable future. And I think I'm okay with that. I think it works pretty well. I do miss, I'm a big believer in like face-to-face contact and face-to-face communication. And I think that will always be my gold standard, but I think this format works pretty well. You're empowered from outside looking in. Obviously, it's had amazing feedback, hasn't it? You've been getting really, really nice feedback and good results as well, which is like that combination of results, but people feeling a part of something. That's kind of the gold standard that you're looking for, I think, is it? Yeah,
that's all I want. When I started it was literally the week before lockdown. I think the gyms had just been shut. So that was my point where that was my whole work gone then. So I was thinking, right, I need to get online. So straight away I'll make a group and that'll be my starting point. Don't know where it will go, but that's my starting point. And it's just gone really well. Like the feedback I'm getting from the women, like they'll message and say, right, I haven't lost any weight this month, but I feel so much fitter. I feel so much mentally better and stronger. And they all help each other as well. Like I was saying to you yesterday, that this running thread came up in the group, and I'm not a runner. And there were people in the group who are runners. So when someone asked a question, they all dived in and gave their input. So it's not that they're all just looking at me to give support. They're all joining together to support each other. And they don't have a clue who, most of them don't know each other at all. And yet they're all being so lovely to each other. And it's just really nice.
But that, again, like from our perspective, like talking from a Washbourne House perspective, what we know and what Russ and I are kind of big believers in are small group exercise, particularly, but group exercise where I can stand in a room with someone and explain their pain to them.
Yeah.
But they don't want that. They want to stand in a room where other people say, I know exactly how you feel. And that kind of, that empathy, as much as I can, I feel like I'm quite an empathetic person anyway, but I still think there's kind of a barrier from me saying it to someone who stood next to you and says, you know, oh, I've had a knee replacement, and the person next to you says, yeah, I've been through that. That's a really powerful thing. And it's probably the same for your group, isn't it? Like people who are on their, again, I hate that word journey, but if they're trying to lose weight or if they're trying to get stronger, if they've got the person next to them, even if they've never met them, if they've got that person that's going along parallel with them, that's got to be, I guess, this is cheesy and it's an empowering thing, isn't it? But that's what it does, isn't it? It kind of creates that group mentality. I've just bigged you up and said everyone's really enjoying it and you're getting really amazing praise. Am I right in saying you made everyone cry this week, though?
I did make everyone cry.
Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, we can.
What happened?
So most of the women in the group are like, now we're in lockdown. They're now being teacher to their children. They've got their children full time. Half of them are still working from home. Half of them have got husbands who need looking after as much as the kids. And they're trying.
Whoa.
You're a good egg. You're a very good egg.
Stop it. Carry on.
So they've got all of that going on, and like lockdown now kind of feels normal, doesn't it? Like, I can't quite remember what life was really like before lockdown. It has just become normal.
Yeah.
And I think they're all starting to feel like it's normal now. So that how do I explain this? They're trying to achieve goals that they might have done in the way before lockdown without realizing they've got these million other roles to do, and they're just putting too much pressure on themselves. And that's what kept coming up in the group. Like, one of the ladies messaged me. She won't mind me saying this. I won't say who, but she messaged me like, "Oh, I had a really good week, and then I had a shit day today. So I had Domino's and wine. I'm such an knob." And I was like, "You're not. You've just had a bad day. Like, you've got 2 kids at home, and husband's had a bad day or whatever. And just because you've had a Domino's doesn't make you a bad person or make you go off track." And I think all the women are just putting too much pressure on themselves. Like, they're getting upset if they can't get all their workouts in, or if they're not eating the right foods. So I got up the next morning at 5 o'clock and just sat in my kitchen in the dark, and then just kept babbling at them about, there's so much pressure that we're putting on ourselves, and this isn't normal. It's not normal to have your kids at home all the time for most people. It's not normal to be a teacher. Like, it's way beyond what we're supposed to be doing. So to try and add on the pressure of, like, if their goal is fat loss, to try and expect to lose weight whilst doing all of that is just too much.
Yeah.
And so what they need to be thinking about is, what can they do to make themselves a little bit happier each day, and forget about whether, even if their best aim is just to maintain their weight throughout lockdown. Like, try not let everything spiral out of control like the other way. But if we can maintain or make some kind of improvement, we're not expecting this massive drastic change that would have been hard enough before lockdown, but is a million times harder now we're in lockdown.
Yeah, it's that kind of stepping back. I've just had I've had a few phone consults today, and I'm kind of speaking the same thing. We're like nerdy. We're talking like metadata, aren't we? We're looking at the whole data. And I always say to people, like, we don't expect recovery to be completely linear, where it goes completely up. It goes up and down, doesn't it? And people have setbacks, and people, like, from an injury perspective, they come and they've got a sore knee, and they want it to get incrementally better from that day forward. And I'm like, it doesn't always work like that. You're going to have days where you might have 5 days where everything's brilliant and you're nailing it and you're feeling great. And then all of a sudden it feels like you're back to square one, but you're not, because over a week you've made all those steps forward. And it's the same as that having a pizza, isn't it? It's like one minor blip, but over the kind of, like, the metadata, the full data, the full spectrum, it's not a linear progression.
No,
it's still progressing.
And like, we've been talking about, like, language changes, like, instead of saying like bad food, saying less nutritious food and things like that. And we've been saying about being on track and off track. And I'm guilty of it myself, of saying like whether I'm on track or not. But I was trying to explain to them that as long as you've got the mindset of where you want to go, you're always on the track. As long as you've got something to aim for, regardless of whether you don't exercise for a week or you have a pizza one day, as long as your mentality is that you're heading somewhere in the right direction, you're on track. The second you tell yourself you're off track, that's it. It all just falls apart. Yeah.
But I don't know if I spoke with John about this last week, about that forming habit, and how, like, everyone's under this kind of misconception, and it goes right up to, like, all these self-help books that they sort of continually spout 21 days to change a habit, and it's bollocks. It takes far longer than 21 days to change a habit. Like, you're talking about things that are ingrained for 21 years, and you're expected within 21 days to have broke these habits, and it's just not achievable or not feasible and not realistic. And like I say, in fact, I don't know if it was John or whether it was one of the videos I've done subsequently, but we know it's much nearer 2 months to form those habits that, even then, they're not going to be lifelong, because we know that we can change habits. But that 21-day thing particularly, it kind of, I don't know, pisses me off. You did another post fairly recently on mindfulness.
Yeah.
Which went down really well, didn't it? Like, you got a lot of people. A lot of people related to that, didn't they? Can I I'm gonna throw it back at you a bit. I know you've answered it on social media already. Go and if anyone's listening, go on Faye's page and find it. So mindfulness. Who am I? Who are you?
Oh, this is like on the spot.
Who are you?
Oh, I don't like
Show
that.
us your bicep. It's on your bicep. It's on your bicep and in your tattoo.
Oh, the camera's flipped. There.
Oh, but you'll have to read it out.
Aspire to inspire.
Yeah.
I got that just before I became a PT.
That's nice. That's a nice thing to aspire to, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's good. What is it I actually want or want to be?
When I became a PT,
question, isn't it? Go on,
yeah.
sorry.
No, that's right. When I became a PT, I was thinking about this earlier. I think I went into it with completely the wrong mindset. Like, I was still back then, like I had quite disordered eating, and I was about, I don't know, 8 stone when I was when I began PT. I'm what, 10 and a half now, so I was like diddy, and I just thought it was normal, and I was training 3 times a day, and I very much wanted to look a certain way. And then I became a PT, and I think I associated that with PT. Like, so to be a PT, you've got to look a certain way, and that would make you a good PT. And it's just so far the other way. And now I'm in a really good place where I don't do any of that eating behavior that I would have done before, and I'm really content. And yeah, I want to be able to help people feel the way that I feel now, because a lot of the women I work with now are showing the same kind of behaviors, I guess, that I would have done years ago before I knew everything that I know now. And if I can help women get to that place where they just feel content, or they want to do these things for themselves rather than trying to be like everyone else, that's a really good place to be.
I think what you do really well is you're like this, like, to me, you're like a good conduit of information. So you're very good at getting really kind of complex ideas and filtering it through to masses in a nice. Your social media is excellent. Like, you're amazing at social media, and you've got a good audience now as well. Like, audience is a horrible word, but you've got a good reach through your social media. And like I say, I think you've always been really good at getting really, like, probably much more complex ideas than are even intended sometimes, and getting them across to the masses. I think that's always been like a massive strength of yours. So where is the negativity in your life coming from?
Mine comes from social media. So there's certain people that I'll follow, and I think everyone does it. You become fixated on following certain people, and you're checking on them.
Yeah.
Not because you even like them or like what they're doing, more because you don't like them and don't like what they're doing.
Yeah. And sadistic, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're obsessed by it, and then you get annoyed about it. But then you start comparing yourself to them, and it just becomes this horrible cycle. Or you see people doing things that you want to do and maybe you can't do for whatever reason. Oh, social media is just a killer.
But it becomes that perception of success as well, doesn't it? You think you kind of start changing your idea of success on someone else's, because you might say, oh, they're doing that and they've got X number of followers, for example, or loads of people like that post, but you know it's nonsense. But you think, well, I'm not prepared to drop my integrity or sell my soul to recommend those things that everyone's recommended just for the likes. You know, you stick to your guns and you say, right, no, this is who I am. This is my stance. These are my beliefs. Yeah. But it is hard, isn't it? Like, I think we've all done it. Like, in all industries, there's people that have huge reach and huge following, and then you read it and you look at it, and you're like, it's some of it's shocking, but it doesn't make any difference. Like, because people like quick fixes a lot of the time, and that's the kind of stuff that sells, isn't it? So what about positivity?
That's really hard to undo.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So, but I'd agree with you. The thing to do, really, I've always been a huge believer, and I've always said this on all my workshops, that the thing I get out of social media ultimately is following people I disagree with. Yeah. And I don't know that I disagree with them to start with, but I like that challenge. Like, everyone kind of knows now that everyone knows. I always say, I've got very strong beliefs, but they're very loosely held. So if I'm wrong, that's fine. That's good, because I'm happy to change. Like you said, you're a different PT today than when you started. Like me compared to what I was 10 years ago, like vastly different therapist. But I kind of I like being wrong, because that gives me an opportunity to improve. So I like to follow people that tell me what I do is nonsense, because they'll be right sooner. Every now and then they'll be right, and I'll be like, oh. So for example, my biases lie in strength rather than stretching. But there's tons of research that says stretching does have this huge positive effect. And I don't say, oh, I don't want to read that, because that goes contrary to my beliefs. I kind of have to immerse myself in it and dig the bones out of it. Let's get off that. So what about positivity? What brings positivity to the world of FMH?
So literally, I'm following the people that I was getting obsessed with, and just taking away that bit of social media and taking away the comparison, and then just waking up every day and thinking, right, what's going to be good today, and what am I going to do well today, and just setting out to achieve a little thing each day has made my week so much more positive than what it was before.
Yeah, little changes. It's always little changes, isn't it? It's never big. It's never like those big 100% changes, is it? It's just the little things, a few kind of 2 or 3 10% changes. That's the key, isn't it? I think that's where the win comes in.
Yeah, literally just putting my phone down and just waking up in the morning and just thinking to myself, what am I going to do to make this day a little bit better?
Yeah,
it works wonders.
Yeah. The other thing that we can relate on is we are team highlighter, aren't we?
Oh, this is all your fault, but I love it.
We are team highlighter. We love highlighting books, don't we? Have I got anything? This is my little office at the minute. Look at this. Let me find a good. Love highlighting pages. Can you see? I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Absolutely.
Like
it's
behind
my thing.
My bed is all my lockdown books.
Yeah.
And
what are you reading at the moment?
I just finished. What's it called?
Oh, Bad Science. You picked up, didn't you?
Yeah, I've just finished Goddess Revelation. Is it Revelation? Yeah, Revelation. I've just started Bad Science, but I've been half asleep reading Bad Science. I need to wake up. Again? I've been half asleep when I've been reading that. I need to wake up a bit and read it.
It's a good read. Bad Science. So Ben Goldacre, he's an ex-GP, or is a GP. He's done another one as well called Bad Pharma.
Oh, okay.
So Bad Pharma was massively influential to me because it was the first time I picked something up and thought that the research matters. And I know there's plenty of people that still think the research doesn't matter, and that's cool. But that's the first time I picked it up and thought, without the research, we don't know anything. We are making like literally wild guesses with people's health. And that's the first book, Bad Pharma. And it's because in that, he and there's a TED Talk on this as well, I think. I'm sure he's done a TED Talk if you like TED Talks. And he talks about the research into antidepressants and how, I'm paraphrasing, I can't remember the exact details, but with antidepressants, they only publish the positive trials. So by the time they go into production and GPs are prescribing them, it might have had, for example, 52 positive trials saying this drug works, and it might have had 48 saying it does absolutely nothing or is harmful, but the 48 don't go to publish because the people who are paying for these research papers obviously want to manufacture the drug, and they don't want this to be public. So it's brilliant. Honestly, it's the first, like I say, Bad Pharma was I read that a number of years ago, and that was the time when I thought, if I'm not going to read the research, I'm a snake oil salesman. I'm literally guessing with people's health. I have to know what does work and what doesn't work. And that really was like a huge turning point in what I do, because I stopped being someone that, because you know me, I'm not someone who just says, come in for 150 appointments.
No.
But that's because the research says like that's not the way people get better. And that led me on that kind of mad, weird sort of maze that I'm still on, I guess. But we're very much team highlight. We love highlighting.
Yeah, I mean, John that you spoke to last week, I had a session with him last year, and one of the things he said to me is like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "I just want to be like Danny." I just want to be able to pick up, because you pick up a book, or like we'll be chatting in your office and you'll talk to me about something, and then you'll just grab a book and you'll open it up and it's there on the page, and you just remember, you just know so much.
Highlighters.
But but now I feel like I've become you a little bit. Like I'm just always reading and highlighting, and it changes everything that you think.
I think, and I say this to my daughters, like, and Hayley, my wife, obviously, like being a teacher, like we've always said, like reading opens doors to the world, and I genuinely believe that, even like for my children particularly, but for myself as well. Like it's just changed everything. And like I always say, I had this discussion with one of my appointments today. Like I'm not that clever. I genuinely, I'm not that clever, but I love reading. I absolutely love reading, and I love reading for reading's sake as well. So I love learning for learning's sake. Like at the minute, my business is way below where it should be from a percentage wise because of circumstance.
Yeah.
But I'm reading just because I love it, and I'm reading stuff that has nothing to do almost with my, on the outside looking in, it has nothing to do with what I do, but I just love it. I like knowledge for knowledge's sake is always worthwhile, I think.
I think you
but again, I don't think
about, learn something and then you realize that you know nothing. Like every time you learn, you said it, Paul, didn't you? Every time you learn something new, you realize there's this whole other world of stuff that you don't know about.
Yeah, and I think it's really like it takes ages to get to that stage where you're kind of happy to stand in a room with people and go, I don't know anything. Like don't know anything. Like I am that person that I read a book, and part of what I highlight is papers to read, or part of what I highlight is they reference a book, and I'm like, I just buy that book as well then. And like that Amazon like addict, I'm just adding books to my wish list all the time. Just because I don't know what they're talking about in the books.
Yeah.
But you are also this is amazing. You're an ambassador for SWA.
Yes.
Which is Swindon Domestic Abuse Support Service. Are we happy to talk about that?
Yeah.
Go ahead. So fairly recently became an ambassador, and you've been doing classes as well to raise money.
Yeah.
And that's gone really well.
Yeah, so I think we've raised over £250 in the last 4 weeks. So obviously, the service obviously rely on, they're a charity and they rely on funding coming in to support what they do. And what they do is incredible. Like no one can understand what they do for people until you've actually like been through it. And they've got, recently, I think it was last year, they opened a charity shop in town, which is obviously shut. But that was bringing in so much money for them. So to have that shut in lockdown, and with domestic abuse going up so much in lockdown as well, it's a real struggle for them. And so many people have done fundraising. It's been really nice. So yeah, once a week I'm doing a class, and people.
Is that part of your empowered group, or is that something separate?
No, it's just separate. So I just do one class a week, and then you can donate anything. So on the SWA website, it's a minimum £5 donation. But I have said to people, if they want, they can literally pay 50p, and if they want to send me that, because you can't go under the minimum on the website, they can just pay anything, and that's an entry to the class. So yeah, over the last 4 weeks, we've got up to about 250, I think.
Amazing. So, and people contact you for that. So contact you.
Yeah, so cool. I put it as an event on my page. The next one I'm going to do it on Bank Holiday Monday, so I'm hoping to get quite a bit on that one.
Yeah, and then when are they various times, or are they always the same time?
No, I change it every week so that hopefully different people can come in. So yeah, Monday I'm going to do one in for Bank Holiday.
Do you have your regulars? Do the regulars turn up to every class?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Got my crew.
And they always come back. That's got to be a good sign.
They do. Bless them.
And you've also, I think, during lockdown, you've signed up for a couple more courses.
Yeah, I didn't think I was busy enough looking after my kids.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound like you've got quite enough in your diary. So what have you signed up for? What you found?
So I signed up for my level 2 children's fitness instructor.
Amazing.
So I wanted to do that for ages, because obviously loads of my women are mums, and my classes I let kids come in like on a Saturday HIIT class, so the kids are always joining in, and I get a lot of messages from mums, especially of girls between like the age of 8 and 10, and the mums are worried about their daughters because it's getting to an age where they're putting on a bit of weight or they're getting a bit lazy, and the mums are worrying, so they've asked me to train them, but I'm not insured for under 16s.
Right.
So I wanted to do it for ages, but I've just not had the money or the time. And then one of the women from Swindon Women's Aid approached me, and she wants me to we're looking for funding for me to run a health and fitness program within the refuge.
Amazing.
So we've applied for a grant for that, because there's someone that's offering grants out for charities. So hopefully I'll get so I've started the course, and then hopefully I'll get that in the next few weeks. And then
Have you started? The course has started, has it?
Yeah, I've already started. So it's online learning. So because I'm a PT already, I've only got to do the last 2 modules.
Oh,
But
amazing.
I'm supposed to do a practical with group, which obviously I can't do right now.
Mm.
And then I've got to do 20 hours of watching like Zoom videos of other kids, fitness instructors, and
Yeah, amazing.
But yeah, once I do that, then I'll be going into the refuge and I'll be setting up. So I'm hoping to make like a booklet that will go in each flat.
Yeah, nice.
Because they don't have Wi-Fi in the refuge, so I did offer for the women to all be in my empowered group. So they don't have Wi-Fi in there, so it's not something they can easily access.
Yeah.
So I need to make them all up like a booklet for each flat that they can all refer to, like a recipe book. And then I'll be working to do a program with the kids, and I'll go in like once a month to train the women and hopefully get the funds to buy kit that can be stored in the refuge, so then the women can train themselves. Because like a lot of them, they can't afford a gym membership, or they don't want to go to the gym for the fear of who they might see, or they don't even want to leave the refuge for who they might see. So I'm hoping the program's going to help.
Yeah, and like so you said recipes as well, so that ties in with the other course a little bit, does it?
Yeah, so I signed up for EIQ Nutrition, which is brand new. It's these 2 women that I follow on Instagram. So how did I follow them? It was through Chloe Madeley. I'm obsessed with Chloe Madeley. Love her. And she did a podcast with Emma of ESG Fitness. And she is brilliant. She's like a female version of you. Like, she just knows loads.
Make stuff up.
Yeah. But she was brilliant. So I started following her. And then since lockdown, she started doing these live chats with Amelia, who's a nutritionist. So every Tuesday and Thursday night, they do like a question and answer, like live chat. And what they know is just phenomenal. And they've set up this nutrition course, which is all about, how do they explain it? A holistic approach to nutrition. Holistic and mindful approach to nutrition.
Yeah, which ties in perfectly with what you were saying at the start, isn't it? That mindful approach to what people are eating, rather than focusing on pure nutrition talk of macros and things like that. It's the kind of mindful approach to it rather than the numbers approach, is it?
Yeah, because like Amelia, she was a bodybuilder I think about 2 or 3 years ago, whereas now she hasn't weighed herself in years. She has no idea what she weighs. She doesn't track her food, and it's just, I think that's a really good place to be. And like I've stopped, up until a couple of weeks ago, I was weighing myself daily, and I haven't weighed myself in about 3 weeks now, I don't think. I'm really trying to stick with that, and I've stopped tracking as well, just to see if I can do it without tracking.
How's it going?
It's all right.
Still in your 21 days?
It's quite nice not tracking my chocolate.
I've got loads of chocolate downstairs. Can't wait. But
But
that's gonna leave you with quite a thorough package, isn't it? You're gonna have almost from, I try not to say cradle to grave here, but you're gonna go right from like prenatal all the way up to your older adult stuff.
Yeah.
With like literally everything in between. So hopefully you won't get. Not that anyone's got all the answers to everyone, have they? But there's not going to be many people you're going to come across that you wouldn't have some ability to help. So that'd be nice.
I hope not. Yeah.
Yeah. How have you found the older adults? How have they adapted to Zoom?
Oh, they're so lovely. I mean, Zoom wasn't our friend on Sunday when no one could get in. That was the most stressful 20 minutes of my life.
Oh no.
But no, they're all loving it. They're doing 3 sessions a week, most of them. So we do Tuesdays and Sundays.
Yeah.
They've all bought a resistance band for at home, and it's just really nice. They're all so lovely.
And again, I think for that group, again, what Russ and I had always really wanted, that it's a community thing, isn't it? Like, it's such a nice community. They've got each other, whether they would claim to be best friends, I don't know. They've got each other, haven't they? And they're doing it together, and so it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, and we've got our own little WhatsApp group now. So like we'll have a chat on whilst we're doing the workouts, and then like today we were talking about what did I make? Banana oatcakes that I made yesterday.
Amazing.
We like to talk about food whilst we train.
Yeah.
So send them the recipe in the group after, or they'll chat to each other about what resistance band they've bought and can they help each other out. And
yeah, it's nice.
it's a really nice group.
Yeah. You're coming back to Washbourne though, aren't you?
Yes, I'm not leaving you.
That was it. This whole 35 minutes has been leading up to that question. Right. Okay. Cool. Well, thanks, Faye. That was fun. It's always nice chatting, isn't it? Hopefully, I'm going to get some more people to come and chat to me as well because I miss everybody. It's tragic, isn't it?
We need to have a Zoom party with everyone.
Yeah, maybe we'll arrange that for Washbourne. We won't do that live though.
No.
Right. Cool. I'm going to press the end broadcast button, but don't go anywhere because it won't boot you out. All right.
Okay.